where I have it at. There's no way. I mean, yeah, I was in the military. I went through things, but I certainly would have known if I got punctured with a big. The thing is about a quarter-inch big. I mean, or a little bit lower, smaller than a quarter inch. I'm sorry, I exaggerated there. But it was no way it could have got into my spine. No possible way. And the only thing I can think about is that time that I saw that bright light and it took off. I mean, who knows how long, in reality it could have been. I mean, loss of time, just because I was awake, you can lose time just like sleeping. But I just got a sneaking suspicion. I don't think you're being astroed. I really think that you're being abducted and you don't realize it. And they're implanting certain things into your brain just for, if you don't realize you're being abducted. And that I could be 100% wrong. But for the last 14 months doing this show, I've had a lot of people on about UFOs. And on my other shows, when I was doing normal broadcasts on, in radio stations, I probably had thousands of people. Some people claim they were abducted, which I know they were never. But I had some cases of people I remember that, they were surely abducted, where they were transported and returned, and it was just a loss of time. They didn't even realize it. So I just want you to do that experiment for us, okay? And it'd be good for you, too, because then you'll know if it's astral or not. All of a sudden, if you see yourself in bed, right, snoring away, and sleeping, and all of a sudden, you play it back, and all of a sudden you're gone for an hour or half an hour or 10 minutes or whatever, and you can't account for that time unless you sleepwalk, then that'll kind of at least answer that. And then you know for sure which way it's actually going, for sure.
Okay, I'll definitely try that soon. I'll try audio recording my sleep. Wanted to comment on the white light, which is of course different than dying, but since the Mt.Adams incident, I've had at least 3 occurrences of seeing flashes of white light. One was when I was awake during, inside of my home. It wasn't a power surge, it was definitely a flash of white light. I didn't see it outside the windows of my house. There was no lightning, there was no noise, just a flash of white light in the room. This also happened to me twice when I was falling asleep because there's no noise. Again, I don't think there's anything outside. I think it's either some sort of technology they were using to maybe scan me or monitor me, or some sort of white light, like maybe even like at checkout counters in grocery stores to scan things, but just a quick flash.
You mean like a laser? Technology. Yeah, a laser where they just scan it, yes.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. That's the sense I get. Somehow directed into my home. I've been indoors whenever I've seen this. It only happened a few times. I think from what I've experienced, these beings come and go a bit, not from the earth, I don't think too much. At least they stay near here, but sometimes there are these durations, like days or weeks, where there's occasional something or a little check-in or a little experience. But they tend to reach out. Sometimes there are days or weeks or even a month or more that just seem to have no activity. And this has been going on since January, not the abductions, but I had a premonition in January, even before this, I call it a voyage, arrived here from Lyra, I believe. And it arrived here on August 11th. That's when I sensed that it was really present. And when I first had my first premonition, it was very strong, very clear that this ship or this group of ships was on its way here. I think they were using the electrical currents through the universe to travel, not like beyond light speed, not teleportation.
They could be using the magnetic fields of different planets.
Yeah, that's possible, but I've also heard that there's like streams of electrical currents or gravitational currents that are directly connected to solar systems even, but just like kind of like ocean currents, but currents through space that a lot of these extraterrestrial crafts and beings use to navigate. Something that our scientists might someday discover for ourselves. But anyway, in January I started connecting with these, and it wasn't until April really that I first connected with one of the gray elders that was on the ship. He's now on planet Earth. I know where he is, I think, but his name is Mutu. I sense he's over 2,000 years old in his current body, but that's just a sense of mine. Actually, that morning that I woke up and then went back to sleep and then remembered that and went back and remembered what had happened, I didn't leave the Earth again, but I went to somewhere underground that was deep underground. It was an underground cavity, like an old lava tube, I think, somewhere. And it was there that I met with Mutu again, directly in my astral body, I believe. But I remember meeting him. I think he was a little shorter than I would be as a human. But there was a large white pyramid, a glowing white pyramid where he is underground, and that's something that they brought with them. I think there's about half a dozen of them around the Earth. That was part of their mission, something that I didn't really learn about until recently. And
now
within that pyramid.
Now, we're going to have to save that to the next time I have you on the show. Our time is virtually gone. See how fast it goes?
Okay, I can definitely.
And, you know, we need to finish this off. Now, people are chatting with me like, Matt, when you were at the campground, did you guys ever get any sightings of UFOs? Any strange things? I know Michael said he saw UFOs. And people want to know if you saw anything.
Yeah, we did. Again, I wasn't at the field. It was like right after dark. I wasn't present on the Skywatch field at ESETI on August 25th, but a lot of the other UFO I Team members were there. James Gilliland filmed it with his night vision camera. Some of the UFO I Team cameras, I think with Ambition Pictures and others, also filmed this thing, but it was this big, fairly large craft, not too far away either, like just not too far away in the sky, like you could even throw something at it or launch something at it, but not that that would do anything. But it was just there, a white light. It was like every 9 seconds I heard someone was counting that it would pulse a little bit. And then after people started shining laser pointers at it to show everyone where it was, that it really seemed to flare up. Not just flare up, but it seemed to actually project a light toward the group on the field, which, of course, didn't seem to harm anyone. But from a different vantage point, somewhere else in E-Study, other people said they saw the same object, and they said it looked like it projected something to the people on the field, like a spotlight or something, and then it floated away or something like that. So that was an interesting occurrence, and I think that might even be connected to what happened. I'm not entirely certain, but I do have a suspicion that that craft, a white light craft, and the white light that Daniel saw on the mountain, and we didn't see anything at the Taklak Lake campsite, but I think those two might be connected, maybe even the same thing. Probably the same group that I've been dealing with since January, who has now been in contact with me. And I didn't expect any of this to happen from my visions, but Michael, too, and other members, I don't know that other members of the UFO I Team continue to be contacted or abducted, but it's Michael and I who seem to be connected in some way since the Mt.Adams incident. And those are the lights that I remember being reported at around that time, at least related to our team. While we were at Taklak Lake for several days, the UFO I Team did not seem to see any bright lights. And that's something interesting to me. It was completely silent, completely dark the night of the Mt.Adams incident on August 27th to the 28th. And somehow I guess there was a craft there. I guess it would be easy enough for a black triangle to camouflage in the night sky over a forest.
Oh, yeah.
But if my suspicions are true, then it would be odd if both of the white light crafts that have been reported from our team weren't present at Taklak Lake, although they could be different. Who knows? Because E-Study and Mt.Adams is constantly getting just like airport level almost of lights and crafts flying around and being sighted, and Mt.Adams is kind of like the LAX of Washington for UFO activity.
Oh, yeah. And, Washington actually has been one of the very first states that had, all the way back in the 40s, around Mount Rainier and Mount Adams and all that stuff, reporting of UFOs. Our time is up. Now, I will say this. Michael is going to be on for 2 hours on the 6th. Maybe on the last half an hour, if you want to come in and join us, you're welcome to come on the last half an hour of the show, and the three of us can just, talk about it.
I would be glad to.
Okay, great, Troy, and I, enjoyed having you on. My chat has blown up here big time on one of the apps I'm on, and I just want to thank you for being on the show tonight.
You're very welcome, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm glad I was able to talk about all of this and finally get this whole story out in one concise conversation to the world, because I've been talking about this with the UFO I Team on the Facebook broadcasts, of course, but I'm glad I was able to get this out.
Well, you're getting it out to about 250,000 people. So, and again, on the 6th, too, that's what we're going to be talking about with Michael, what happened on that mountain. So, like I said, the last half an hour, you have my phone number, be prepared, and then call in the last half an hour, and we'll all three talk.
Certainly, I would love to. I'm not sure if it will happen before then, but I also hope to go through another regression this month and maybe recover more detailed memories that I could talk about at a later time.
Great. That works. Okay, Troy, I got to run out of here. Our time is up.
Okay. Thank you, Gary.
Okay. You have a great evening, sir.
You too.
A night. Yeah. And